everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Futures. And today we are joined by a few members of the Thames Valley Police. And right now we're talking to PC Thomas. Hi there.
Hello. So, as you said, I'm PC Thomas. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no, thank you. So obviously you are a police constable in Thames Valley Police. Can you quickly talk to the BC students about what you do and just introduce yourself?
So I'm PC Michael Thomas from the Maidenhead geographical team, Maidenhead South neighbourhood team. So it's slightly different to a frontline police officer. So the frontline police officers known as ICR, you'll be speaking to one of them shortly. They respond to your 999 calls every day, 365 days a year. My job is, the best way to describe it is demand reduction. So if we have a particular area or a particular person that calls the police a lot regularly, my job is to see what we can do in order to stop that person or help prevent that person or that area causing such demand for the police force. Okay,
amazing. And for you, what do you think it takes for someone to become a police officer?
So I had some time to think about this, obviously, and I was thinking one of the key skills, other than all the cliche stuff about communication and so on and so forth, is being able to be flexible, because this job is very unpredictable. It's always changing and adapting. Obviously, all the coronavirus stuff, the way we police, the way we deal with things is completely changed to how it was. I've been in the job 8 years now as a police officer, 10 years working for Thames Valley Police, and in that time, the shift pattern, for example, has changed 10 times. So once a year it changes, which is very regular. So that's one of the key things I'd say is be able to be flexible and be able to deal with change well. That's a key point to help being a police officer.
Okay, amazing. We actually have a large number of our BCA students who are keen on becoming a police officer or working in the police force. And so you've sort of mentioned a few skills there, but do you think there are any skills in particular that are really important when considering police force?
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of skills. As I said, when you talk about police, you hear a lot of the cliche things like good communication skills, interpersonal skills and things like that. But some of the stuff is like being confident, because when you're a police officer, you will be attending incidents that are very emotional, very intense. People could be screaming, shouting, seriously injured and things like that. And if you go there being confident and professional, you create a sense of safety for the people there. And when you arrive at a scene, people will look to you to give them guidance, to give them reassurance. So if you're confident and you're professional, as I've said, it really helps reassure members of the public. Obviously, other skills, as in communication skills and being able to talk to people from all walks of life is key. And another one, which I feel that is not mentioned regularly, is being able to be good on computers and paperwork, because unfortunately in the police a lot of it is paperwork. Being able to do paperwork methodically and work through it, knowing what the paperwork's going to be and able to create or write coherent paragraphs about what's happened and things like that. It seems very simple, but it's really important. And also, in reality, the paperwork's what puts bad people in prison. So if you do good paperwork, you're more than likely going to get a bad person to prison for a longer time. So that's really key.
What would you say is your biggest tip for maybe a BCA student who's considering going into the police force?
Yeah, it's my honest biggest tip would be, maybe don't jump straight into being a police officer, because I was a PCSO to start with and a special constable. But being a PCSO really builds the foundation for being a good police officer. You learn how to use all the computer systems, which you'll be using as a police officer. You learn how to complete paperwork, like writing your own statements, completing crime reports, making crime reports, and all that stuff is really essential. You also learn basic skills about how to talk to people, how to go into incidents that you have no idea what you're going to, and you go there and you've got to make fast-paced decisions. But if you imagine trying to become a police officer without any of that foundations, you've got all that to learn, and then all the police officer stuff to learn as well. And I really valued my time as a PCSO. I loved it, and I think it really helped me. When I joined as a police officer, I already knew how to use the radio, how to do crime reports and all that, and it took that little bit of stuff that you're worried about, because it's surprising how many people get worried about just talking on a radio and saying to someone, "Oh, hello, this is where I am." But when you've done it as a PCSO, when you're a PC, you're already used to doing that, and it's not that scary. So that's my honest biggest tip: is be a PCSO for maybe a year. You get paid for it. It's not a terrible job. It's a really fun job. You get paid to do it. You learn lots of skills, and then it's easier for you to upgrade to a PC because you're already within the police family.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. That was amazing. Thank you, PC
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. So now we're talking to PC Jub. So hi there.
Hello.
Hi. So you're also a police constable in Thames Valley Police. Do you mind also quickly introducing yourself to the BCA students and just explaining what you do?
Yeah, of course. My name's Maria. I'm 24. I've been a police officer for almost a year now. I'm based at Maidenhead Police Station, but the area which I cover covers Windsor, Eton, Ascot, Sunninghill. So it's quite a big area that we cover. Before this, I was a 999 call taker for Surrey Police as well.
Oh wow, amazing. Okay, so how did you go from that section of taking the 999 calls into now deciding that you want to be a police constable?
I'm not sure, to be quite honest. It wasn't intentional. Quite a lot of people that start off in that role kind of do it with the idea of eventually becoming an officer, but that wasn't initially my intention. But I just kind of got a feel for it. It gives you a really good idea of what sort of incident that officers are responding to on a daily basis, rather than, you know, what you think you might see on the TV and all that sort of stuff. It gives you a really good, realistic idea of what we go to. Yeah, and one day I just went for it, and here I am.
Great. So in your mind, what do you think it takes for someone to become a member of the police force or a police officer?
I would say one of the main attributes that someone would have is determination. This can be a really tough job, and that doesn't mean by any stretch that we're out having fights with people every day or dealing with like really horrible things every day. You know, some days are really slow, but the thing is, you always need to be in a mindset to be ready to deal with something nasty. So you're always at like a slightly higher level of alertness and concentration. So it can be quite draining, especially like if you've got stuff going on in your personal life as well, to kind of be switched on, like alert all the time. It can be tiring. So to be determined to kind of for whatever reason you join the police, whether it's to help people or catch the baddies, whatever it is, I think it's just to be really determined.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's probably quite a key skill there that you've mentioned. And when we were talking to PC Thomas, as I was saying, that we've actually got quite a lot of our BCA students who are interested in joining the police force. But I don't know if you have any skills that you think are particularly important for students.
I think above all, and I say this to so many people, the ability to communicate and just have a conversation is by far the most important. The rest of it you can learn so easily, but the art of having a conversation is one that is so much more difficult to manage and is so much better if it just comes naturally. The amount of times I know any police officer, including myself, would say they've managed to de-escalate a situation from something that could have gone really nasty, whether that's a fight or someone wanting to hurt themselves or anything. Just being able to have a conversation, bring it down a few levels, just talking, I think that's absolutely key. And like I said, everything else can be taught, but that is one thing that I think really needs to come naturally to most police officers.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. That's great advice. And we spoke to PC Thomas about particular highlights in his career, but do you have any hurdles for you that you've had to maybe overcome?
A personal one for me is confidence. In my previous role as a emergency call taker, I did that for 2 years, and I was mentoring people when I left. So I was at quite an advanced level. So coming in and being a police officer and starting at ground zero again and building up, it makes me feel really vulnerable, like not feeling like I've got that comfort blanket of knowledge that I can fall back on, and having to relearn everything in a completely new job, really. That's been my biggest thing, is just relying on myself and being confident in myself, and knowing that that knowledge does come with time, especially once you get signed off for, it's called fit for independence. So there's basically when you've done your tutorship and you're free to go out into the world on your own. That was a big moment for me, to be able to just get out, stand on my own 2 feet and answer my own questions. You've of course always got a support blanket in your sergeant and your team to ask any questions, because you'll never know everything. But to make my own decisions a little bit more was a big milestone for me.
No, definitely. That's really fantastic advice. Thank you. And my final question, which we asked everyone, what would you say is your biggest tip for maybe like a BCA student who might try and follow in your footsteps?
I would say to try and get as much exposure to any sort of policing as possible, whether that be take a role like I did in some sort of policing background. A lot of people I know that join up as officers join up as special, so volunteers, prior to joining up full-time basis. Or again, same for PCSOs. A lot of people join up as PCSOs. I just think having that exposure to knowing what this world is like and the reality of it is really important, because going into this job, it's not just a job for me. It's not something I'm going to move on from in a couple of years. It's a lifelong career potentially. So to have a really good understanding of what you're stepping into is probably ideal, even if that's just in the form of, ride-alongs, which aren't happening at the moment, obviously because of COVID. But when they start again, I would say that if that's what you can do as well, then that would be a good thing to do.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, and for all your advice. It's been great.
No worries at all. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we are joined by PCSO Ahmed. Hi there.
Hello there.
Hi. So you are a PCSO at Thames Valley Police. If you could spend some time explaining what the difference is between a PCSO and a PC, that'd be great.
Thank you for having me first. And to start with, PCSO is standing for Police Community Support Officer. Are the face of the police with the local communities, and you will play a vital role within the community that we serve, and building up relationships with the local communities, and developing relationships with partner agencies such as local authorities, and also PCSOs work with the local neighborhood, where we actually deal with minor offences in relation to antisocial behaviour. That's what the PCSO role is, and in addition to that, develop intelligence and all that.
Okay. Yeah, okay, great. And so in your mind, what do you think it takes for someone to maybe become a member of the police force?
And to start with, and as I said, PCSO is the face within police. And if the person being PCSO and gradually went to a role of police officer, you already have a key things, which is number one, problem solving skills. Number two, you have communication skills, where you're able to communicate effectively with the local communities. The role is slightly different, and police officers deal with offences and they can make an arrest, where PCSOs engage and develop intelligence. So the difference is police officers, and as I said, do arrest.
Okay. And do you have to have been a PCSO to become a police constable?
Not at the moment, but I sort of give an advice anyone want to join as a police officer to start as PCSO, because you will have the key thing using the radio first, knowing your local nominals and local communities, and also you develop and the values of the police, and also you learn more in relation to safeguarding. Then the role will be easy when you joined as police officer.
Okay, amazing. And I was talking to PC Thomas and PC Jab, and we were saying that a large number of the BCA students are actually wanting to join the police force. And so do you think that there are any skills that are important for young people when applying for the police force?
Yeah, and first thing what I will advise is to have an effective, good communication level, because you're there and speaking to the public and with different range of age. Number one, and communication skills are the key. Number two, and confidence. Number three, and great to have problem solving and skills, and that all comes certainly with experience.
Okay, amazing. Has there been maybe a particular highlight of your career so far?
And yeah, as PCSO, we do different stuff on a daily basis. But back in the last year, September, where a call came in, control room called us for a high risk missing person, and I was nearly to book off, so I had to always stay and do the area search with the team. So I always stayed, and finally I managed personally to locate the high risk missing person, which I felt proud, and I've had a lot of encouragements from senior management and all my team as well.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. Okay. And final question, which is what we end every interview on.
Yeah.
Do you have what's your biggest tip for maybe a BCA student who is maybe trying to follow in your footsteps?
And first, what I will advise to everyone want to join the role of police officer or PCSO is, and first have in mind that you are actually protecting the public. And today you are chasing someone who robbed, someone who's old. So you're trying to catch that person and bring to justice. That's what we need to have in mind. And another day, you might do safeguarding with some vulnerable person, and someone who needs your help. So you're there for them. And days never been the same. So what I will advise is, and have that mentality first when you're joining the job. Also, in the police, we have what we call the values, and such as transparent and integrity and impartiality, because we do serve different communities, and the expectation is quite high, and the public service.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you all of you for taking the time to talk to the BCA students today.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Talking Futures, the video podcast that talks to different professionals from different industries. It was brought to you from the Beyond BCA team here at the Berkshire College of Agriculture.